Yeah, man. How you doing?
Oh, my audio is not recording. Hang on.
Well, that's not good.
Is that the right one? Yeah, it's the right one. I see it.
Yeah, I spent like
Better?
20
Yeah.
minutes listening to like people snap, just trying to get the audio working on their thing. So,
Dude,
but
I've been doing this a lot lately with like all this music shit. So I've
yeah,
been really used to like clapping to like get my timing down. Like so like I know that's like a cut one, cut
clapping
two.
to get it started. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But how you been, man?
I've been good, dude. I've been real good. I wish work were a little better. Every event under the sun is canceled, so it makes me a little hard to do my job, which is produce
Yeah,
events. But it's allowed me to do a lot of music shit. And I feel like we should all be using this as some sort of creative outlet or an outlet to do something else. Because if we just sit around, and just focus on what we're not doing in life, that's just not a healthy way to live. You know what I mean?
not at all, not at all. Well, I'm glad. So what do they have you doing at work? Like what do
So
they have you doing?
right now, they really want us to start focusing on things we have coming up for the fall. So
Okay.
the New York Marathon or all of our big bike rides that happen in the fall and shit like that. So they want us to really kind of grind down on that and get ahead on that because the events that have been postponed that should be now are being moved to later. So later in the summer or the fall. So we're gonna get hit harder. So normally with that leeway that we would have in the summer, we're not really gonna have that so much. So it's kind of just preparing for the future.
Well, I mean that's good. At least it could be a lot worse than future planning.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
But so did we ever land on a name for this thing? Because
I like the dig route.
the dig route, okay. I mean, hey, I like
Wait,
that, or
what do
I
we?
didn't really contribute much better. So
I think the dig route, block in the back, the out route. I like all three of those.
okay, yeah. I mean, let's go with the dig route, I guess.
I feel like it had a nice play on words, taking digs at each other and stuff like that. I feel
Oh
like
well, yeah.
that's kind of what I was thinking of it. Unless you want to have a podcast about Stefan Diggs or
No, I
taking digs.
don't. I don't. Maybe we could get him one day, but
Maybe we can get him one day. Yeah.
yeah, right. So yeah, I mean, my thought about this podcast was we just kind of hastily put it together. We were both not really up to much tonight,
Yeah.
so that's good. So I figured, we could just go through some introductions on who we are, what we like to do, and then really just start shooting the crap. So why don't you go first? Tell us, about yourself, and about what you love about football.
Yeah, no doubt. My name is Justin Garinger. I reside in Springfield, New Jersey. I am the world's biggest Cincinnati Bengal fan that lives in New Jersey. I feel like if I said the world's biggest Cincinnati Bengal fan, somebody might make a weird claim one day, and then we could just get into a war. And I don't
I'm
want to do
glad you
that.
clarified that.
Yeah, of course, of course. Biggest Bengal fan in New Jersey. I don't know, man. I've been drawn to football since I was a little kid, and there was always just something that stuck with me, and I've always had a mind for it and kind of just understood it, and never really had to question everything, and it all just seemed very natural and made a whole bunch of sense to me. Never really had anything I had to question.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you do outside of this podcast?
Outside of this podcast, I work in live event production. So my company produces various events like the New York Marathon or the 5 Borough Bike Tour, a lot of endurance-based events that do a lot of great work for a lot of really good people out there. We also do brand activations and tours and travel the country, but that's kind of our bread and butter.
Where's the coolest place you've gotten to travel to?
Coolest place I've gotten to travel to? Ooh, I'm gonna say California.
Okay.
I'm gonna
All
say
right.
San Francisco. Yeah, that or Miami. Yeah,
Okay. I mean, both pretty cool places.
yeah.
But yeah,
Different times in each, but
absolutely. So yeah, my name is TJ Brennan. I reside in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm originally from Long Island, New York, and I'm pretty proud of that. That wasn't nice. Um, yeah, and I'm a recruiter for a government agency. I'm going to try to keep my identity as low key as possible.
That's
So,
fair.
but I unfortunately am a fan of the New York Jets. I have been a fan of them for as long as I can remember. There's been some good, a whole lot of bad, but I think things are on the upswing. I kind of like what they've been doing here the past couple days. But we can get more into that a little bit later. So I know the NFL is pretty much really the only thing going right now.
Only thing driving right now, man. And I got to
with
be honest,
trades.
everything that happens, I'm just like, oh my God, did you see that?
Yeah,
It's
nuts.
breaking.
What's
Everything is breaking
what's been the
news.
biggest move for you so far?
Besides Tom Brady?
Yeah, besides Tom Brady.
Well, we touched on him for like a hot second when we were just shooting the shit before. I think Stephon Diggs to Buffalo is huge, actually. I think that's a really scary move for that team.
Yeah, I'm not a big Josh Allen believer.
Okay.
But I think anything you can do to make your quarterback seem better is a smart move. I think Buffalo, that's what they're doing, is that they're making a lot of smart moves, but it really comes down to Josh Allen. And I know he's got a big arm, but
yeah,
can he lead you like to where this team needs to go? And I don't know that he can, because some of the plays that he was making in that game against the Texans, man, were horrible.
That was a terrible game.
Yeah. Oh, it was just awful.
God.
I mean, to have the lead that they had, I don't know. How does it just get thrown away like that? I mean,
like
I know it's Deshaun Watson, but
I don't know. He had a perfect drive, and that first drive I thought was absolutely picture perfect for Josh Allen. Then after the rest of the game just unraveled beyond belief. I think he needs a better game manager, I think, on that team. I don't know who's calling the shots. I don't think it's Sean McDermott, because I know he's pretty defensive minded over there.
No, it's their offensive coordinator. I forget his name, but
yeah. No, I do think he needs somebody with a little stronger play set and skill set, and it needs to be designed kind of for him. Like, look what the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson. He couldn't run an NFL playbook, but he could run a Lamar Jackson playbook. Josh Allen can run a Josh Allen playbook. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
that's what the Bengals are probably going to do for Joe Burrow. Well, I mean, we'll get to that obviously, but
yeah. I mean, yeah. We'll see. I want Josh Allen to do well. I don't despise the guy. But the reason I don't necessarily like him is that when it came to big games in college, he wasn't good.
Yeah.
he wasn't good. He showed nothing that made me believe that he was going to be, a huge star in the NFL. And like, he's going to make these big, great plays because he's athletic as all hell. But when it comes down to it, like, is he going to win a game like Deshaun Watson will? I don't think so.
Yeah. And when he was drafted, when obviously him and Sam Darnold are in that same party, you did not want Josh Allen, right?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. If I was ranking them, I wanted Baker, Darnold, Rosen, Jackson, Allen. That was my 5.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, yeah, I'm happy. And the reason being is in the lead up to that draft, I never thought that Sam Darnold would get to 3. I just never. So I never really looked at him and never seriously considered him.
I mean, I thought Saquon Barkley was 1 without question.
Yeah, I'm so happy the Giants drafted him.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked he is not a Cleveland Brown. I mean, good for him. It's all worked out great, and Nick Chubb has a great job, and it's all worked out for everyone. But I did not see that one coming. I love Baker, but I did not see that coming. I know you do too.
I'm glad that he's going to have another 4 or 5 years left in his NFL career, and that's going to be it for him. I love Saquon Barkley. Don't get me wrong, and I just find it hilarious that the Giants spent the number 2 overall pick on a running back.
Mm-hmm. They've already worked the crap out of him.
Yeah. I mean, he's already. I mean, we'll see if he can.
He'll already fall apart. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if hopefully he does, and he's an exciting player, and I don't want it to seem like I hate Saquon Barkley. I just dislike the Giants, so I'm going to make fun of any move that they make.
Of course. What was Well, I was going to ask, what was your biggest move for the offseason so far?
Oh man, I mean, you kind of stole it with Diggs, but I think Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina, is pretty good.
That's a good one.
Just because that kicks out Cam Newton. So where does Cam Newton go? It's just another domino. So it's looking like Cam Newton and Jameis Winston are the odd men out in terms of quarterbacks
and Andy Dalton.
Well, yeah, Andy Dalton, but Andy Dalton was always going to be a backup, so I kind of just forgot that he was really available. He's still under contract and whatnot.
Andy Dalton could have done the Nick Foles effect. It was one or the other, in my opinion, for Chicago.
Yeah, that Chicago. I mean, that move going for Nick Foles. I guess I don't necessarily understand it. To have that much invested in the quarterback position for a team that needs to win now is kind of crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
So, we'll see what happens, but I still think the plan is for Trubisky to start.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Nick Foles there to light that fire.
Trubisky to start, and then have have Foles as the backup where if all hell breaks loose, you have to put him in, you know?
But imagine he's fucking amazing there. You know it would happen too.
Yeah.
He's throwing dimes to Allen Robinson, and you're just like, what the fuck? I mean,
Yeah. The problem I think is Matt Nagy is just not I think he's too arrogant to fix what's going on.
For sure.
Like the Bears offense was at its best a couple years ago when Trubisky was running the ball. And like they didn't have him running the ball at all last year.
A little towards the end, he was starting to pick it back up, but his overall play was picking up towards the end of the year ish. It's hard to be worse than what he was. So
yeah, oh, absolutely. I think
was pretty awful.
I mean, we'll see. I'm sure it's just an insurance policy for Trubisky. Fun fact: the people out here who are Bears fans call Trubisky Biscuit.
No way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just
they call him Mitch Biscuit or just Biscuit.
Biscuit.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Biscuit, and then I don't know why, but
awesome.
now this could just be the one guy at work that I talk to who calls him Biscuit, but that's a nickname for him. And then I also I really like Phillip Rivers to Indianapolis. Hometown shout out.
Great move. I'm sure the people in Indianapolis are very excited.
Yeah, I mean the Colts had to spend money. They had
you had the money to spend it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they had $90 million in cap space.
Yeah, so fuck it.
Right, and then Jacoby Brissett, like he was good for the first 7 games, and then after he hurt his knee.
Yeah, he got a little banged up, and he wasn't really the same. I do think you have the best backup quarterback in the league, probably.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it really depends. It depends. I don't know. I'm a big Jameis Winston fan. He's one of the dumbest in-game decision makers I think that I've ever seen. And this is coming from a Jets fan. This is a Jets fan who's seen
you
Mark
watch
Sanchez
Brooks
at his worst,
yeah.
Geno Smith at his worst. Jameis Winston, for whatever reason, he makes the dumb play over and over again. But I think wherever he goes, he would be the best backup. Also, Marcus Mariota now, I guess, relegated to backup quarterback.
Yeah.
He's
but I don't think that's a competition. I don't know. Derek Carr versus Marcus Mariota. That's not the fire to light under Derek Carr. I don't think.
No, they're gonna phrase it as a competition, I'm sure, but it's gonna be a fake one.
It's not. Yeah.
But we'll see. It's a good insurance policy. I mean, the guy was a second overall pick for a reason.
1 and 2, man. Odd man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Now, and also, I'm not ruling out Jameis Winston coming back as a backup in Tampa Bay either, because Brady has probably 2-3 years at most.
What's the deal? Is it 2 years?
It's 2 years, $50 million, fully guaranteed. But here's the reason I say but. There's a clause in the contract where he can't be tagged and he can't be traded. So you'd only put that if you were planning to play another year after you have this contract. Sure. So we'll see what happens. But I think I wouldn't rule him coming back because I know he and Bruce Arians got along. He and Byron Leftwich got along. So I wouldn't rule
They're
him.
saying that this is Byron Leftwich's audition essentially to become a head coach. Like people loved him in Arizona when he was a QB coach. Then he got promoted, becoming the de facto offensive coordinator. Then got moved to Arizona, and people think that he is an excellent coaching mind. So I think that this is a massive opportunity for Byron Leftwich to work with Tom Brady and to kind of showcase what an offense of his can do.
Yeah, but then do you get into like an Adam Gase situation where like if Brady, let's say Brady has like 2 of his best years ever, like is it because of Byron Leftwich that Brady has his best 2 years ever, or is it because he's Tom fucking Brady? You know what I mean? Like,
and it's impossible to know that.
Right. But Tampa Bay is gonna. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about them because that defense overachieved last year. And they still finished 7-9.
It needs some. It does. Shaq Barrett's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But no, they need. When Brent Grimes was there, I mean, they need like a lockdown guy in that secondary, somebody to be afraid of, and there's nobody that you can throw on everybody there, right? Beyond belief.
Yeah, I was talking to Al. Al is one of our friends from college. We were talking the other day about Brady going to Tampa Bay, and
he's probably heartbroken.
He is as a Patriots fan. He's a little bit upset, but the question that I asked him was the hypothetical, like, would you rather have their 2007 offense around Brady, or is this supporting cast better than that 2007 was?
This one wins by far.
That's what I was going at, but then Al made a good point where Wes Welker was so good, but he was very underappreciated. He averaged like 1,600 yards the whole time he was at his peak there. Those 4 years, where he was at his peak. But I was like, I mean, Mike Evans to Randy Moss, there's a drop off, but is it that big of a drop off? I mean, Mike Evans is pretty darn good, and he's a lot younger than Randy Moss was at that time.
I'm not. I mean, they don't. Randy Moss in his prime, or Mike Evans in his prime, like
but was 2007 Randy Moss's prime? I don't know. I
know
he broke the touchdown record.
No, not at all. No,
right?
No. Randy Moss was in his prime in Minnesota, and maybe a year that he played in Oakland. Maybe, I don't know.
Right.
If that counts.
So. Right. But then is Chris? The question is Chris Godwin, 4 years into his NFL career, better than Wes Welker was?
8 years.
Because I think a tight end they're certainly better.
With OJ Howard, yeah.
Cam Brate too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I forgot. I thought he left. No, he's still there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Adam Humphries in the slot.
Mm-hmm. A fine slot man. Yeah.
Right, and then at running back, it's Ronald Jones and
Peyton Barber, and they get other guy
Ogumawale, yeah.
Yeah. He's like the catchback out there. I think they need somebody a little more stable back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there, but I mean that's a pretty darn good offense.
For sure.
The problem is they play in the NFC South and Drew Brees is there, and I think he's on his I think this is his last year.
He's on a good bye tour right now.
What's up?
He's on a good bye tour right now, and the Saints have gotten shafted 3 years in a row. They are hungry for a fucking title, man.
Right. Well, I mean, this year it was their own. Oh
yeah.
Doing.
Oh, most definitely. But 2 years in a row, we can all agree that team got shafted.
Yeah, the Minnesota Miracle, and then the non-call on the pass interference.
The no PI call, yeah.
No changed the rules of the NFL.
Don't you love when those happen?
Yeah, the overreactions, overcorrections.
Yeah.
Yeah,
those happen. Like Brett Favre just had to complain enough, and then the NFL changed their overtime rule, and they've had that for years. It took one Hall of Famer to be like, "That's fucked up. That wasn't fair," and poof, new rule.
But I mean, the overtime rule is still garbage. So
it's terrible. Yeah, I'll take really college overtime all day, every day.
Yeah, even the college overtime, I think, is a bit. I don't know. It's a bit crazy. I think each team should. I think it can be fixed by each team possessing the ball. And then if you score a touchdown, you go to the next drive, and then it's sudden death after that. I think.
Where do you start from? You start from the 20, the 40, their own 20.
You kick it off. Just start it like you would in this, another half, and then just go until there's a winner. Like, don't put a timer on it. Just
yeah.
Yeah. We can talk more about rules and all of that stuff. The overtime rule especially. I'm sure there'll be time where we can talk more about that. But yeah, so I mean, going to not your neck of the woods, but your friendly neighborhood Bengals.
Oh, absolutely.
What have you liked so far? What have you not liked so far?
I'm gonna be honest, man. My entire Bengals career, we have signed one big time free agent, and that was Antonio Bryant. If any of you know who that is, he was a subpar receiver for the Bucks. And he got paid by the Bengals, and I don't think he ever played a game. And the Bengals are known for taking that Packers approach, taking your homegrown talent and just constantly re-signing them. And it works if you're the Green Bay Packers and have a competent front office and a viable ownership. It doesn't work if you're the Cincinnati Bengals and have a really cheap owner and an asshole such as Mike Brown.
Mm-hmm. Well, it also works if you have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. But.
Also helps with that too. But for the first time in, it's got to be 10 years, the Bengals spent pretty big money. They spent big money on DJ Reader, the nose tackle from Houston, who essentially took over for Vince Wilfork and had his best NFL year by far last year and looked fantastic. They also signed Monique Alexander on a 1-year prove-it deal from Minnesota, which I also love. Great slot guy. He replaces Darqueze Dennard in that. And Darqueze was fine, but, he came from Michigan State. He was first-round pick, and he didn't really live up to that sure tackler, that no-fly zone that kind of Mark D'Antonio stated and implemented back then. And then we also signed another corner from Minnesota, Trey Waynes, who another Michigan State guy. Pretty good. He's probably the same thing as a Dre Kirkpatrick to me, who the Bengals also have at the moment. He's fine. But the moral of the story is for me that they spent money.
Mhm.
And they spent money on talent that wasn't their own. And to me, that speaks volumes of what Zach Taylor is trying to do there and just change something. Because my entire Bengals fandom, there was one head coach and one GM, and it was all Marvin Lewis, and that was it. And now you have this new reign, and I feel like you can kind of see the shift in the culture. You can totally see the shift in the player culture, but you can see the shift in the front office culture.
So what's next then? Is there are they targeting anybody? Is there certain groups on the field that they're looking to go after here?
Obviously, quarterback.
Well,
So,
I mean that's going to be addressed,
of course,
in April. So
I would say the biggest needs right now for this team are linebacker. For years, it's been beyond incredibly easy to take your tight end and throw it over the middle with the Bengals because they have no linebacker who can cover you. I mean, and zero linebacker. We got Preston Brown from the Bills a couple years ago, a nice 26-year-old linebacker at the time. We were all really excited. He had 115 some odd tackles. It's a great move. Guy can't cover anybody for shit. Nobody can on that team. So that is by far the biggest need here. And there are a few good linebackers out there who are decent in coverage in this upcoming draft. So I think that quarterback and wide receiver are something that they address here for sure. Because you're still trying to figure out what's happening with John Ross. Is he who is he? Because last year he had 8 touchdowns on 20 catches. Is Tyler Boyd a number 1 receiver? Is AJ Green good? If John Ross isn't good, and if AJ Green isn't healthy anymore, you need another wide receiver. And this is definitely the draft to do it in.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if you need a receiver, this is
you
the
could
draft
draft
you want to
2,
target.
and you'll be fine in the 6th round. I mean, it's
right. Yeah,
it's
they're comparing it to
crazy.
the 2014 with Odell Beckham, Mike Evans, Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, how do you buy into the rumors at all of Burrow not wanting to play in Cincinnati?
No, I don't. The entire time for me, man, that's just been reporters needing a story because there's nothing going on in the NFL right now. So you're going to take this lone storyline that you can concoct and just kind of run with it. And I mean, you heard it from the Burrow camp and the Burrow family this entire time. They're like, we've never even remotely said anything like this whatsoever. So this is not a thing. Joe Burrow will become a Cincinnati Bengal. They will absolutely draft him number 1. He will play gladly. And I think that this dude has a big enough ego and enough swagger to get the job done here.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully for your sake that happens.
I've needed it, man.
Yeah, I
still haven't gotten over 2015.
Yeah, that was the Vontaze Burfict Antonio Brown game, right? Yeah, I mean, you really ruined 2 teams there. You ruined the Steelers and you ruined the Bengals in that game.
Yeah, I mean, they've never been the same. So, I mean,
neither team's been.
As a Bengal fan, that aspect has worked great for me because, I mean, fuck Pittsburgh above anything else,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was weird to me. I saw a mock draft. I think it was Steve Serby from the New York Post. He had the Bengals taking Chase Young first overall.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, if you didn't need a quarterback, like if Andy Dalton, I don't know, had been, injured or whatever, and he was projected to be the starter, like sure, you take Chase Young, but I don't think you should pass over a quarterback who had the year Burrow
Absolutely.
had.
Somebody said to me, they're like, you wouldn't take Chase Young? He's as good as Joe Burrow. He's as good as Joey Bosa. And look at Joey Bosa. I was like, yeah, look at Joey Bosa. He's great on a pretty crappy team. What is that going to do to have a quarterback as a defensive end? What does that do he's not winning me games. He's just compiling stats in his stat sheet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Nick Bosa had a pretty good year overall. And they played in the Super Bowl, but.
Well, I said Joey, but yeah.
Oh, Joey, my bad. I thought you said Nick.
Yeah. Oh, you're good.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you from that aspect. You picked the quarterback before.
100%. Absolutely. And that is a no-brainer in my opinion.
Right. Unless you have a quarterback that you firmly believe in.
Correct.
Like,
and this would be a different conversation if Tua were perfectly healthy, and be like, which quarterback are you taking? But to me, it's not a question of, are you going to take a quarterback of defensive end? That's a mindless decision to me.
Right. Like if the Jets were in that position, if they were picking first overall, they'd pick Chase Young without a doubt.
Oh yeah, of course.
and it just really just depends on
Or
which
you
team we
trade
get.
out for it and get a haul.
Yeah.
But we don't. We
What would
need.
it even take to? I don't even know if a team has the assets it would take to trade at this point to like one or two, because I don't think Washington with Ron Rivera getting there is going to give up.
No,
Is
definitely
going to give
not.
up
I do
Chase Young.
think. I think Detroit's going to give up 3.
You think? Oh, I mean, I think Miami's going to trade up to 3 for
Yeah,
Tua.
and I think Detroit can get the 5th pick out of that, and they could probably get either what is that, the 15th or the 20th or whatever they have. I think you can get
Miami has
3.
picks for days.
Yeah, exactly. I think you can get 2 firsts out of that, or a first and a second this year, and a first next year. You can get a haul for that 3rd pick.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, you absolutely
doubt
could.
about it.
Well, because the Chargers are going to be bidding for it too. So I mean, you
Exactly.
can really. I mean, the Lions are in the best position. I am so glad that the Giants won. I forget which game they won. They either won Week 16 or 17. To be in the spot that they're in at 4th overall, it is just beautiful because only one of those 2 teams behind them are going to try to trade up,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they're going to trade up with Detroit. Because Detroit has the leverage, because if one of the Chargers or the Dolphins backs out, they'll just go by the other one. So I would love the Giants to draft a defensive tackle. This is coming from a guy who's a fan of the team that always picks the defensive tackle.
It hasn't worked too well for you quite yet.
No, it hasn't. But this Dave Gettleman fella, he is my pride and joy. He is ruining that team, and it is glorious to see. To trade for Leonard Williams.
Oh yeah.
Now Leonard Williams, he is a great, great overall guy. But in terms of being a player, he's not a player that you should have drafted number 6 overall. He doesn't have the production. He doesn't have any of those stats. He's a block eater, and that's about it. And you don't waste a first round draft pick on that.
You use a 4th pick on that.
Right.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the Jets love defensive tackles, but with what the Giants are trying to do and trying to build around Daniel Jones, although Joe Judge won't say his name. I love that.
What a random hire too, by the way.
What's
random left field hire.
Joe Judge. I mean that's probably what they were going for. It was like, he's a Patriot. Like, great. It is Joe Judge, right? That's his name.
Joe Judge, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Dave Gettleman, continue doing what you're doing and ruining the Giants, because I love seeing it. Every move you make, I am rooting for you. So let's go ahead and make Saquon Barkley the highest paid offensive player in the league. Please get that done this year, so you don't have to wait. Let's keep your wide receivers as is. And
Slay is the number 1.
Don't draft an offensive tackle. Let's save those for later in the draft when talent is proven to be there. Let's take a defensive tackle, interior defensive player. That's who I'm looking for the Giants. That would just be phenomenal.
Interior defensive player. Okay.
Yep. I would die laughing.
I will give Dave Gettleman that message personally.
Yeah, please do. That would just make me feel so great. But
hey, man, Caldwell is not too far from here. All right, it's an easy drive for me.
I loved when he made the fake towards the analytics, because that's what every team should be doing at this point. But no, keep doing what you're doing, Mr. Gettleman. I'm rooting for you. Just keep doing exactly everything that you're doing in the exact way that you're doing it.
I love it.
But
Ryan,
what should we look out for when it comes to the Bengals coming up here in the next couple weeks in the lead up to the draft? What other moves do you think that they can make? Is there anything rumored to happen with the Bengals coming up here?
I would keep on the Andy Dalton trade market. I don't foresee it happening. So at this point, you're going to come to the conclusion either Andy Dalton's going to be your backup, or you're going to drop him. I mean, you're going to sign somebody else. I don't know who you'd sign, though. I think having him as your backup would be more than adequate, more than fine. Understands the city, understands the culture. I think – and he's also just – say what you will about Andy Dalton. What a phenomenal human being. Just a class act through and through.
Yep.
So I think that would be a great role model for Joe Burrow to kind of take after and just see that how this family man operates and goes about his business in the NFL.
Yeah, but is that as great a guy as he is, and you know the mentor, are you going to pay that guy $17 million this year? You know, I think
No,
that's a. I mean, the Bengals, you know, aren't in need of that $17 million just yet. But
they don't spend anything, man.
right.
I do expect an Andy Dalton drop though. I expect a Drake Kirkpatrick drop, who I referenced before. I do expect them to sign a linebacker. They're probably going to re-sign Nick Vigil, who was a weak outside linebacker for them last year. He was solid. He picked up, I would say, in the last 4 to 5 weeks of the season. He actually played pretty well. The whole team, to be totally honest with you, played really pretty well for the rest of the year. Once they came out of their bye week and they got that first win against the Jets.
Yep.
And even before that, I'm sorry, that was not a dig, I promise.
Yeah.
But even before that, man, you know, they lost to the Raiders. If they had a quarterback, they would have won. And they started Ryan Finley. They lost to the Steelers. If they had a quarterback, they would have won. They started Ryan Finley. And you saw a trend that Ryan Finley, who, by the way, never wanted to draft, you traded up for him. I thought Ryan Finley was beyond the worst quarterback in last year's draft. I hated that move. And
what round was he even drafted in?
4th round.
4th round. I mean, why?
4th round. Traded up.
Why? I just, I don't know. I guess everyone is going to look for their Tom Brady or whatever. But if a quarterback, to me, if a quarterback, if you're not going to draft him in the first 3 rounds, why are you wasting the draft pick on him?
No.
Because, like, name another quarterback who was drafted outside of the 3rd round. Like, that's been consistently good for an extended period of time. Other
Dak
than
Prescott.
Okay, Dak Prescott is one. But has he really even been that good?
No, I'm not a Dak Prescott fan, but he has been a viable quarterback for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for where you drafted him.
Kirk Cousins went in the 4th.
Okay.
Jared Stidham is apparently pretty good, and he went in the 5th round. The Pats seem to like him if you're signing Brian goddamn Hoyer over Jameis Winston or Cam Newton.
Well, he did. Jared Stidham did throw his first career touchdown pass against the Jets.
Oh, did he?
He did, to Jamal Adams, who ran it back to the house. So give me more of that, please. Yeah, I mean, so we can name a couple, but like they didn't win it. You know, they haven't really won anything yet.
No.
You know, Kirk Cousins has a lot of money in the bank because he plays a premium position, and Dak Prescott will soon be the same. But like, can either of those guys really take you over the hump, so to speak? I don't believe it.
No, I don't believe it either. And I don't think trading up for Ryan Finley a year ago was a wise investment. But
no, I don't either. I think, yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to go through my head of quarterbacks who are starting right now, and like they were all either 1st round picks or
2nd round picks, 3rd round picks.
Picks. Like even
where Russell go?
Wilson was
Russell was 3rd. Yeah. Derek Carr was the 2nd.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Drew Lock was the 2nd. Yep.
So I mean,
jury's out on him.
Right. And so why are you gonna, you know, I guess Kyle Allen was a 5th round pick, but
does he count though?
No, he's not great.
Exactly.
He got traded today too.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
And that's just like starters, you know. So if you don't find a quarterback in the first round or first half of the 2nd round, I'd say, you know, it's a very long shot that person will be successful. Period. In the NFL.
Absolutely.
So to trade up to get one, I mean, that's just poor. That's being a poor GM, I think.
Couldn't agree with you more.
But yeah. So
they canceled the draft today, right? Or yesterday?
I don't think they canceled it.
I don't know if they're going to have the event. I know they're still going to draft.
Oh no, they're not. They're not doing the event. They're doing like it on like Skype or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like a cable news like studio production. It's not going to be.
We're out of Vegas. Not a thing.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Vegas is in trouble with everything going on here, but that's a different. That is a different story.
What about you? What are you looking out for the Jets? How's the offseason been?
Get Sam Darnold some help, please. So Joe Douglas has been doing a pretty good job of just getting bodies into the offensive line room. I think he's signed 5 or 6 offensive linemen at this point, which is great because that's what one of the biggest areas of weakness was last year. So I like to see that. I think at number 11 in the draft, they're gonna draft a tackle. I think if 3 picks if 3 tackles are taken in the first 8
which is very
picks,
possible.
which is definitely possible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's why I want the Giants to draft a defensive lineman. Just
So it frees one.
yeah,
up
so it can get to 4. I don't care which one of those 4. I really don't. Doesn't matter to me as long as they come away with one of those 4. I think it'll be a success. The draft will have been a success, no matter who else they draft, no matter what else happens. I can see a situation where, because that's what Cleveland is going to do too. Cleveland is going to go after one of those tackles. So if 3 of them are taken before 9, so let's say 3 are taken in the first 8 picks, I would watch the Jets trading from 11 to leapfrog Cleveland to make sure they get a tackle. Now, they don't have the picks and they don't have the talent to really give up a huge haul in order to make that kind of move. But I think it is so important to Joe Douglas to build an offensive line around Sam Darnold that he's going to make that happen.
Yeah,
I did see something crazy today. So they've signed all these players to like 1-year low salary deals.
Prove-it deals, yeah.
Exactly. And they're still in the top 10 in cap space. They still have like $40 million in cap space. This is totally different from any free agency period I've seen the Jets have after a terrible year. And you know what's crazy? Not to keep going on random tangents, but they had an awful year last year. Absolutely terrible. And they still finished 7-9. It's like, I truly believe Adam Gase is the worst head coach in the NFL. I don't think there's anybody who's worse than he is. But he somehow wins these close games. I don't understand it.
He had that crazy comeback against the Pats two years ago, right? Wasn't that him?
Yeah. Well, that was the Miami Miracle where they scored
the King
on
and
the
Drake
last
thing,
second
yeah.
play. But he's lost like 29 games, I think, as a head coach by 10 points or more. So I just don't get him. I can't figure him out because he will prepare his game plan like a madman. Like coaches have said that he's like come to their house at 4:30 in the morning and knocked on their door, woke their wives and families up to go over game plan stuff. He's a psychopath.
He looks like it, yeah.
Right. And so how does that person lose any game period by 10 points? Like if you're really putting in work, there's a difference between putting in work and like between actions and results. So he's like an activity focused guy where he's like focused on how much work he's putting in and all that stuff, but he doesn't really get any results. Also players absolutely hate him. And so some of the contracts are what I call the Gase tax. So it's the price you have to pay to make somebody deal with Adam Gase for a year.
Is that Le'Veon Bell's entire contract?
Yeah. So now here's the interesting thing that I'm seeing. All of these contracts are 1-year deals. Could this mean now this is getting a little bit ahead of the game, but if they struggle this year, I think they probably win 5 or 6 games this year at most. If he's not successful, none of the players that he's having input on are going to be here next year.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think they're building for the future in terms of the year after Gase leaves.
Yeah. They're building for without Adam Gase because to me, that's a 100% inevitable. You're right.
Now, one of the things that's annoyed me for the past couple of years is that Woody Johnson, the owner, is the ambassador to the United Kingdom, and so he had to put the team in Christopher Johnson's name. I was excited because it was a different perspective, but Christopher Johnson so far has shown that he is not the leader that Woody Johnson was. Now, the one thing I'm worried about is if Sam Darnold has another middle of the tier year, if they start to look outside of him at quarterback. I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it at points during this year, where if they do such and such, I won't be a fan. This is me on record. If they choose Adam Gase over Sam Darnold, I am done. I am #done with this team because Sam Darnold is the reason that they won as many games as they did last year. Like him playing at a high level has put them in that position. That kid is only 22 years old.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? He's 22 years old.
Kid has a fantastic arm.
Yes, and he's gonna. I think he's gonna have a fantastic career. I still believe in him. He's still my guy. So to me, you got to build around him. Things to watch out for. Where does Robbie Anderson fall? Does he come back for a year or two?
Do you want him back?
Oh, absolutely. Have you seen some of the plays that they've made together?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
But I also know he's trouble in the locker room.
Well, so he has the one thing where he allegedly spit in a cop's face, I think, or something along those lines. What did he exactly do? He did something terrible. But yeah, he's not the straightest person he can find himself into trouble. I'll put it that way. Sure.
Arrested on 9 charges.
Okay. Alleged. Well, allegedly. He did something though. He did something really bad. And I almost said, forget it, but I'm going to look it up because I don't want to be sued for libel. I have to remember that now. Okay, so he did say make sexual
threat toward
threats about a police officer's wife. Okay.
Yep.
So I knew he did something with a police officer. But so sorry, Robbie, you didn't spit in the guy's face. I apologize. But so yeah, he doesn't off the field. But to me, I really couldn't care less about what happens off the field with my wide receiver. Like if that's Sam Darnold in that position, yeah, that's a big problem because that's your quarterback, that's your leader.
I think you should care about whoever on your team that does that. I don't know. Coming from a Bengal fan who had a team full of convicts, and I'm not
Vontaze Burfict is all I have to say.
Okay, the man is not a convict. The Bengals had a team of straight up fucking convicts years ago. Odell, Thurman, and a whole bunch of guys literally got arrested. I'm not making this up. That's bad character for your locker room, man. One guy can spiral everything. Antonio Brown can spiral everything.
Yeah, but I don't think he's that big. Like I think he's a young kid who came into money when he shouldn't have. Like I don't know.
It's possible.
Like I think he's just had to do some growing, and he wasn't an issue last year.
He was fine.
So there's been a lot said about Le'Veon Bell and how he's a big
diva,
like a big diva.
Definitely.
He last year was a leader of the utmost caliber for that team. He didn't complain at all about how he was used.
I don't think he could have. He didn't have enough clout to do that. The man sat out for football for a year and got a little less than what he wanted, but he got what he wanted at the end of the day. And now look at Todd Gurley. Not a lot of running backs are going to continue to make that money because you don't see the ROI on that. It's not a thing. So I think if Le'Veon Bell came out at all and mouthed off about honestly anything, that'd be such a bad look for him, for a man who for a year straight got nothing but bad publicity. I think he had to take the high road on whatever situation he was handed with the Jets.
And but Adam Gase got paid. It wasn't like he was looking to get paid. You know, he had already.
Correct, absolutely. But my whole thing with Le'Veon Bell was I think James Conner proved that you don't need Le'Veon Bell, and therefore Le'Veon Bell didn't deserve the money. If you're basing it off of his productivity in this full run Steelers offense, you look at James Conner, who had arguably a better season in that same offense. So, to me, you lose millions of dollars on that. And
absolutely. I mean,
he lost a few $100,000. He did not lose millions on that, and I think he could have.
Yeah, he.
I mean, Melvin Gordon just held out, and Melvin Gordon's only making $8 million now. So, I mean, look at how this market is going.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to pay a running back, and I don't blame a team for wanting to. So the reason I supported the Le'Veon Bell thing is because not only is before last year he was a top, what would you say, top 5 running back the year before?
Yeah.
Is that fair? Is that a fair?
When healthy, yeah, because he does get hurt.
When he was healthy, the year before he sat out, he was a top 5 running back.
Yeah, like 1,200 rushing yards. 800 receiving. Yeah, you had a great year.
Yeah, and so to me, the way I saw it in my head before he joined the team was, okay, that you're not only you signing a top 5 running back, but you're also signing like a top 20 wide receiver because of how often he was in the slot in Pittsburgh. So to me, if you have a player that versatile and you're going to use that player in that way, fine, pay him a premium dollar because he's giving you more than one thing. But that's not how the genius Adam Gase decided to use Le'Veon Bell.
No.
He's just strictly puts him in the backfield, hands it off to him between the tackles, and that's about it. And behind the offensive line that they had last year, that wasn't gonna
No,
really do
definitely
much.
not.
So I'm glad to see the focus on the offensive line. Now they just need to look at my theory is they're gonna let the Robbie Anderson market settle. They're gonna get him back at a decent rate. And then they're gonna probably draft 1 to 2 wide receivers in those middle premium rounds for wide receivers.
Yeah.
Um,
I could see you guys taking a wideout in the second round, in the fourth round, or like the third round, the fourth round.
Yep.
Yeah, there. I mean, we said it before. There was a lot, and you could go after. I mean, you should be going after a big play guy.
Mhm.
Personally, like there's a guy Denzel Mims out of Baylor who's, I mean, just a big play. That's all the guy does. He's like 6'5". He is a woolly mammoth out there in the red zone.
Oh yeah.
You need guys like that for sure on this team.
Yeah, I want good football players. I'm tired of watching this garbage. Where you're not exactly sure what you're going to get. Like
For sure.
they've had last year was very frustrating because I really bought into what they had done in the offseason. It's a damn shame what happened to CJ Mosley because that defense was
stout.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
that was great
without him. And so add him in there, another all-pro linebacker. But he's another example of why the Baltimore Ravens are the Baltimore Ravens, because here's a linebacker at the top of his game. He made the all-pro, I think, 4 out of the 5 years or whatever he was in Baltimore. And they decided to let him go. And, unfortunately, it was because of injury. But so far, that's worked out in Baltimore's favor.
Man, Ozzie Newsome is just an absolute genius, and I don't think that Ravens front office has ever gotten enough credit it deserves. It's phenomenal.
It's the Costa now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a Costa now.
Yep. He's a genius too.
Because Ozzie retired.
Oh yeah. I wasn't trying to take anything away from Ozzie. The Baltimore Ravens, I think, are one of my favorite teams, just because of how successful they've been and how they've done it. I think
it's hard for me to like them as sharing a division with them.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, like you to constantly do what you do, it's impressive to me.
Oh, just year after year, just keep on doing it. So I'm excited for the Jets. What is your record, your pre-draft record prediction for the Bengals, Justin?
My pre-draft record. So we don't have Joe Burrow right now, right?
Well, I mean, you're assuming that you're going to get Joe Burrow.
Okay, so with Joe Burrow, I think this team takes a pretty nice step forward. I
won 1 game last year, so
we won 2, man. Come on.
2? Oh, my bad.
We beat Cleveland. We beat Cleveland in the last game of the season.
You did, and you almost beat Baltimore, or not Baltimore, Miami.
Oh, don't even get me. That was terrible. The only game that you should try and lose, you came back from like a 17-point deficit. It was honestly ridiculous, and you scored in the last second of the game too. And I was beside myself.
My wife and I were watching that, and it was
I couldn't
down
believe
16 with like 2 minutes left, and I was like, I'm going to change this. My wife was like, what if they come back? I was like, babe, the Bengals suck. They're not going to come back, and they came back.
And they came the hell back, man. It was crazy. I'm gonna give them 7 wins next year.
7 wins. Wow,
7 wins.
Quite the improvement. They play a 4th place schedule, right?
Yes. Oh, they have an absolutely horrific schedule, and that's why I say 7. And I think it could maybe be more, but I think 7 is a very safe bet.
What division do they play?
Let me remind myself. I want to say it's the AFC South and the AFC West. Let me see. Hang on. Oh, I have the NFC East too. Oh, the
NFC East?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. That should be 3 wins right there.
Okay, we have the Cowboys, probably a loss. Jacksonville, probably a win. The Giants, I would say a win. The Titans would be a loss. We obviously have the Ravens, Steelers, and Browns twice. We have the Texans, we have the Colts, the Eagles, and the Redskins. Yeah, man, you can get 7 wins out of that for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's counting me losing to the Ravens twice.
Right.
I think
which they'll probably steal one of those, I'd imagine.
I think you beat
or they
Pittsburgh
could.
once, you beat Cleveland once, and then there's just 5 more games in your schedule to win.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
What about you?
if I had to say right now, I'd probably say 5 or 6 wins. I don't. So they play the AFC West and the NFC West, so they have to travel a lot this year. So that's what I'm worried about. Jets don't really travel out west very well. So I'm not expecting big things this year. I think Sam Darnold will have a big year. All I want to see from him is those interceptions come down a little bit.
I think he's very frantic.
Yeah, but it's not even like I don't even think it's like his fault. I think it's because the offensive line is so bad.
Yeah.
That's really if that number comes down, I think he's. I don't know. I am such a big fan of his. And Sam, I hope in some way you're listening to this. And just know that I'll always support you. No matter what, you are my guy, and I will always have your back. You could throw 5-6 interceptions, and I'll be right here.
In a game.
Well, yeah, 5-6 interceptions in a game. And I'll still be right there. No one's talking about ghosts on this podcast. I won't let them. So,
I thought about making a reference. I chose against it.
I appreciate that. That. That was also bullshit by ESPN.
Total bullshit by ESPN.
If ESPN or NFL Films or whoever is responsible for airing
that was a bad move. That was a bad move. Poor kid. He's literally 22 years old.
Right.
Well, you at 22 years old.
But normal football players use that expression constantly.
Yep.
So I don't quite understand where that's coming.
No, but I'm saying to publicly embarrass a literal.
And that's
kid.
why they did it. If he played quarterback on any other team, it wouldn't get aired. But because it's the Jets against the Patriots, and for whatever reason, ESPN wants to have their own version of the butt fumble, that's why they do it. And quite frankly, I was very upset. I almost had to take a personal day off work the next day because of how upset I was. Not because the Jets lost the game, but just for how bad I felt for him. Just to get embarrassed on national TV like that. But I mean, he handled it well. Came back, had as equally terrible of a game the next game, and then came back and followed it up.
He definitely picked it up towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's. I'm confident that he's going to be it for a long time. But so in terms of what's next? What have you been watching? Anything fun on Netflix or anything like that?
Anything fun on Netflix? Oh,
have you watched The Tiger King? Speaking of Bengals.
Oh, I actually saw the preview for it last night. It looked pretty interesting.
It is phenomenal.
It looks good. It's by the same director as Fire Festival, right?
I don't even know, but
I believe so.
Joe Exotic is one of the most interesting human beings that I have ever seen.
Okay.
I don't know. That whole documentary is the characters just keep getting better and better as this whole thing goes on. And like people, they say it in the beginning, they say like people who like big cats are, messed up. And I was like, whatever. They just like to live dangerously, all that stuff. No, these people are screwed up in the head. I highly recommend that to you and to
I was gonna check it out. Yeah, it was on my list. I recently watched a cool documentary, Searching for Sugar Man.
Okay.
It was about I guess he's an artist. You can call him Rodriguez, and he was this artist in the 70s who got really no love. He just got love out in South Africa, and he was assumed to have killed himself, and that's just not true. So he was found or later revealed himself in like 2012, 2013. He's been touring a lot lately, and I've listened to, I think, every song of his in the last few days, and it's beyond phenomenal. And for those listening, I am a giant musician. I play a lot and record a lot, and so he is. I was blown away. Very impressed.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to watch that.
And the entire world should be watching Better Call Saul because that is just high class TV.
Is it good?
It doesn't get better than that, man. It really doesn't. I've been preaching that for years. It's better than Breaking Bad. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I see. My problem is whenever I find a show, I watch it, and then about a year later, I like rewatch it because I can't get it out of my head.
You just keep going in cycles, yeah.
Yes, and like I've been trying like new shows, and they're not new shows really, but they're
New to
older
you.
shows that have been around for a little bit. So like Designated Survivor. I started
That's
watching that. It was pretty good. And then
yeah.
I guess I just found myself on my phone like while watching it, and you can't really get into it that way. So I made it through about a season and a half with that. And then my wife and I just finished Self-Made, on the story of Madam C.J. Walker.
No, I don't know that one.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's with Octavia Spencer. It's pretty good. I definitely enjoyed it. And then movies, we watched Jumanji this weekend.
The new one.
It was great.
Yeah, I heard it's really funny actually.
Yeah, the second one, The Next Level.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually the third. I don't count the Robin Williams one because The Rock now owns this franchise. So
So the second one is supposed to be a spinoff of the first one? It's supposed to be a sequel, I guess, technically.
well, yeah. So the Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle is supposed to be not a continuation, but like a spin-off
Okay.
of the Robin Williams Jumanji. This one I think was just as good as the first one with The Rock. So it was, Welcome to the Jungle. I thought it was really good. The Rock and Kevin Hart have just such unmatchable chemistry.
Yeah. You could tell.
It's just unbelievable.
You ever see them all? They have these Instagram videos that they'll sometimes do together, and it's so natural. It's not staged or anything. It's beyond poetic.
They're friends, and
Yeah,
like
man.
they're best friends
Get it.
and
And they
movies
just
together.
they just fuck with each other. That's great.
It's fantastic. And then we also, to scare ourselves, we watched World War Z this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
Get a little apocalyptic in there, yeah.
Yeah, Morgan was talking about her sister wasn't feeling well, and because of this movie, I think she said, she turned real quick. I was like, Morgan, she's not a zombie, like, but yeah, so she's not feeling well. So Annalisa, if you're listening to this, I hope you feel better, and just let us know if there's anything we can do to help.
Feel better.
But yeah, so what? You got anything else, man? I think I'm out of it. I'm out of things. We've been talking for a little bit here.
Anything else right now? Anything else? I've recently just went on a massive movie binge. So if you guys haven't seen any of these Oscar-nominated movies from 2019, 2019 was amazing year for movies. Truly, cinema took a very nice leap back into the mainstream. So I would check out Ford vs. Ferrari. I would check out 1917, of course. I would check out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite. There's some really, really great movies out there that would just really kind of blow your mind.
Parasite has the subtitles, right?
Correct, yes.
I'm not a reader. I can't do that.
You think I know Korean, man? Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I might learn. Yeah, that's...
For those of you looking for something
against it, I'm sure it was a great movie. I'm sure it was phenomenal. If it won an Academy Award, it was a good movie. But
yeah, man, it's great.
I can't. I'm not going to sit through a 2-hour thing and read.
So you're not gonna sit there and watch Narcos?
No. Oh, Narcos. That was next on my list actually. Narcos.
Yeah, a lot of subtitles. They speak a lot of Spanish.
No, thank you. I'll pass.
A lot of Spanish, man.
Yeah. Did we have a Spanish class together in college?
No, I had taken Italian.
Oh, okay. I forget who was in. I was so bad at Spanish.
I tried getting out of the language requirement in like 9 different ways possible.
Yeah.
And none of them worked. Well, I almost went to on that Alicante trip to Spain with Jen Crow, and that was the year I can say it on a podcast. I don't care. I had gotten arrested, so I couldn't afford to then go to Spain anymore because I spent all my money doing whatever. Good old days, man.
Oh yeah.
To be 18 again.
Yeah, geez, man. Yeah, I took the language thing. I'd taken German in high school, and I only needed 1 semester of German, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to learn a new language. I'm going to take 4 semesters of Spanish because Spanish is a more useful and transferable language. I know more German than I know Spanish, and it's not that
1
much
to 10 in German.
either,
That's
but
about it.
I couldn't do it with the textbooks and the CDs that you had to put into for the programs. Couldn't do it. Could not do it.
Yeah, the text to talk things. No, I understand. Yeah,
but,
I've been trying to buff up on my Spanish with some Duolingo on my phone.
Oh, Duolingo.
Oh yeah, I try.
Yeah. See, if I want to Spanish, if I'm taking another language, I'd want to learn like American Sign Language. So I took a sign language class my last semester senior year because I could take an elective, and
I forgot they taught that. Yeah
and Mike Negro he had been in sign language. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna learn it. And
What a guy.
that was I highly recommend it. Just it's a cool language to understand, like how, I don't know, language to me is just so interesting, and like how people communicate. But
Absolutely.
yeah, American Sign Language is definitely one that I want to continue learning. But yeah, so anything else, man? Anything you wanted to add here before we
No,
stop recording?
I think we're all set. I'd say we'll probably try and do this. Let's say once a week to start.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think once a week is more than enough time.
Yeah.
Mondays are usually pretty good for me recording.
Cool. We could do Mondays then.
Yeah, Monday evenings, and then we can push it out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because
sure.
that's usually a dead day for podcasts, I think. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. I think this went well.
Yeah, thank you for the 4 of you. I'm sure they'll listen to this. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Dig Route. What was that?
I said it'll be 8 by next month. Don't worry.
Yeah, 8 by next month. We'll see. If we double in a month, that would be awesome. But
I think that's great progress.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording here.